Oh, the Gothic is going to be strong with this one. The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. She was an early radical feminist, the leading feminist theorist of her time, actually, resistant to conventional masculinist ideals for women that encourage and exaggerate their maternal and sexual aspects, as if that's all they are, to be a mother and to be a sexual comfort. The Yellow Wallpaper is considered a prototypical example of the female Gothic. What exactly is the female Gothic? Well, we'll see. Her father deserted her. Her mother was cold and distant, protectively so. I guess to engender a certain independent strength in her daughter. After the birth of her only daughter, Catherine, she experienced postpartum depression and was prescribed the Rest Cure by Dr. S. Weir Mitchell, but it only made things worse. It increased domesticity and decreased intellectual pursuit. Now, we of course know today that when someone is depressed, the last thing they should really do is to do nothing. Activity tends to relieve stress, exercise in particular, including intellectual exercise. So, of course, the agitation of the depression and, further the other instability that is there comes from this rest cure. In fact, there is a social activist aspect to the Yellow Wallpaper because it, in a way, is a response to this rest cure. And the story actually helped to do away with the rest cure. So there is, again, that element of social activism to it, in spite of its rather heavily Gothic window dressing. She split with her first husband and sent her daughter to live with him and his new wife, which was controversial because, that's kind of the problem, really. Something controversial to this day about that brand of feminism that asserts female individuality and independence beyond the role of mother and wife. She simply sent her daughter away to restart an independent life. And she remarried her cousin. And she committed suicide with chloroform after suffering from breast cancer. Now, considerations for the female Gothic. In other words, what the female Gothic tends to explore is, what is it about women that can be portrayed as innately, inevitably dangerous? Dangerous, threatening, and spooky. And while you're reading the story, consider how that manifests itself from, through Gilman's proto-feminist lens. Such issues that you will see rear their heads in the Yellow Wallpaper: the tyrannical, patriarchal husband. But ask yourself, is he necessarily doing this purposefully and maliciously, even though the negative effects certainly are there? But it is certainly a take on the tyrannical, patriarchal husband. Motherhood as a severe limitation on a woman's role in society. Motherhood as a prison and a trap. The presence of an old house with a questionable past. Very Gothic. Another very Gothic feature is the ambiguous ghost and the presence of phantasmagoria. Now, what is phantasmagoria? It is any element that seems hallucinatory. To use a rather strong example, if the scenery suddenly begins to sound like, or the images remind you of a bad acid trip, that is phantasmagoria. Any kind of fantastic, ghostly, hallucinatory image play. Think of it like a fun house mirror, but with other more extreme hallucinatory manifestations. And there is a Poe-like narrator of questionable reliability. By Poe, of course, I mean Edgar Allan Poe. And Edgar Allan Poe was very well known for his unreliable narrators. In other words, narrators that it becomes very obvious that you have to read around a lot of what they say because they are clearly not reliable because they are insane. But notice with Gilman we have a different take on the unreliable narrator, and I bring that up in one of the discussion questions. And I'm eager to see what your responses to those are.